would like to welcome everyone to this program. We're going to be airing this program this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WAAW 94.7 FM out of Augusta, Georgia.
Mm.
And I'm hesitating for a reason. You know, in this noisy world sometimes, all of a sudden the volume gets turned up. And I believe with all my heart and soul that the volume tonight will be turned up. But it doesn't really have to be loud, it has to be truthful. So I'm honored tonight to have with us Dr. Tony Davis. And earlier, he sent me a bio. And as I'm looking at it, I said, boy, God has really done some great works in you, Dr. Tony.
Yes.
So for me to give off all the accomplishments, I don't think I would be giving it any justice. So if you don't mind, Dr. Tony, we welcome you to tonight's program right here on the One Source Network. And I think people will find this show very interesting. And I also want to thank Pastor Smalls, the owner of WAAW out of Augusta, Georgia, for having this program on. And once again, let's introduce Dr. Tony Davis. Welcome, Dr. Tony.
Hello there. Thank you, my dear brother Greg. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine, and I'm looking forward to this program.
Yes, I am too. Wonderful.
So could you share a little bit about your story and some of your accomplishments?
Oh my goodness, man. It's a whole lot over the years, My story goes back. Let me start from the beginning. We got a little time, right?
Yes.
I was born and raised in Canton, Mississippi. It's a little small town, 20 miles outside of Jackson, the capital. Raised with Christian values. My mom, it was 6 of us, 3 boys, 3 girls. And my mom was the type of mom that made sure you're gonna sit on that front row at church every Sunday. You're not gonna miss. If I don't go, you still going. And I just remember those days of not wanting to be there to the days of watching my aunt that I love so dearly, my auntie Callie Mae, singing with this beautiful voice, just a heavenly voice, anointed, the traditional way of singing, And I was intrigued with her singing and all those things. And I remember singing my first song, Trouble in My Way with the choir. And, I was about 15 years old. And I'm like, wow, I can do this. I got a little something there. And I remember as I got older and I graduated from high school, and I veered off from the nest, as they say. And my auntie in Florida, Orlando, welcomed me to come to her home. Come on out outside of Mississippi, Tony. You can stay with me. You want to come outside? I said, yeah, I just want to see what's in the world, So I moved to Orlando and stayed with my auntie. Such a beautiful heart. Oh, I love my auntie Hattie B so much. She's just such a beautiful person. Never changed. Always stayed the same. And I stayed with her for 3 years, And as I was looking for, you try to find out who am I or what am I to do, and just trying to figure life out, kind of. And the only thing I must admit that I felt empty in Orlando, because Orlando was like a tourist place. Everything is hotel, motel. And I'm like, I'm just not getting anything out of here, and the jobs, I'm like, something more for me, somewhere else. I want to sing, I want to do some things with the voice that God has given me. So all of a sudden the door opened, and around 88, somewhere in that swing, I recall I moved to a friend of mine offered me to come and sleep on his couch in LA, California. We had went to school together. We just good friends. And Tony, come on out here, man. We got Hollywood, brother. I'm like, oh, okay, here I come. So I jumps up again and moved to Hollywood, and I began to indulge and get into the Hollywood life, meeting different people and beginning to sing. I went to this United College of Business on Sunset in Hollywood, and in the break room, I heard this brother singing. And I'm like, that brother can sing without music. And I'm like, okay. So I got with the brother, and we began to form a group. we both began to sing, and we formed a group called Jeff and Tony. And we began to sing around Hollywood. You know, we did a lot of they call it Hollywood hot spots, you know, Club Vertigo, Carlos and Charlie's in Beverly Hills, and it just goes on. We did a lot of different singing for different groups. We opened up for a New Edition. Bobby Brown did some background for Anita Baker, opened up a show for Isabel Sanford. So it goes on, and I just got indulged in all those Hollywood things, you know. And again, it wasn't gospel at the time. It was R&B. And I began to do a lot of singing, a lot of R&B stuff. And all of a sudden I landed a record deal with Playful Music, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. And man, I kept singing. And I was working on an album with my producer, and my mom was in my ears, "Stop singing that stuff and sing for the Lord." I'm like, "Mom, there's no money in singing for the Lord." I want to sing where I need to sing to get some real money here, you know? And, but so I kept doing what I was doing, went to those parties. And Brother Greg, I was feeling empty, like something is missing out of my life, man. Something ain't right. I'm going to these parties, Mulholland Drive, Magic Johnson, to the Luther Vandross parties, and I'm seeing sin, a lot of things that I know was not right. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to do that. Some things I just would not indulge in. You know, I'm like, I cannot do that. I was raised better than this, man. You know, I just couldn't. I had some morals there, you know, certain things that I saw them doing that I just could not be a part of. So I remember one day I was leaving a party, Mulholland Drive. There's a lot of curls coming out Mulholland Drives. And I remember I had my nice 300ZX just flying, man. My tops is off, and I'm just going around these curves, and I'm crying. You know, I'm feeling empty. Something is not right. Your life is not on the right track. And, you know, my life was not in order. And I remember going around the curve so fast, it was almost like I may go off this cliff. And sure enough, man, I hit one of those curves, and my car began to spin, and it almost went off a cliff.
Wow.
And I stopped and I sat there, and I just began to reflect over life and what I was doing in that lifestyle, you know, that Hollywood stuff, that junk, that evil mess. You know, I wasn't a heavy drinker, but I drank and I smoked a little bit, you know, to be honest with you, indulged in that area, but I never did the heavy drugs, you know, the cocaine, and I didn't, even though the trades were passed around. But I just said, no, I don't want to go that far. So I never gotten that far. And so I was speaking to a friend of mine. We was at the Venice Beach just talking, and I was like, man, I got to get out of LA. I just got to get out of this. And he was like, Tony, we're about to do this album, and Rick is going to be upset if you leave, because you've written those songs. Because I'm very good at writing songs. I mean, I can write a song about a bird in the sky. You know, I just had that gift of writing. And I needed to get out of LA. A lot of times you have to get away from your sins, away from a bad place to really get to know yourself and see a better light of where you're supposed to be or where you're supposed to be going, versus being stuck in a place that you know that it's almost like, I call it being in a place of lullaby. You know, it's a desolate place of sin, and you're caught up in that thing, and it's hard to be released from it because you're a part of it. And the only way to do that a lot of times is you have to get away, break away, as they say, and come from amongst them. Is what the Bible says. God tells us to come from among those sinful people and those sinful ways. And so I jumped up, and my friend had a friend in Georgia. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Wow. Moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and lived in Marietta outside of Atlanta. Met my wife, Griselda. We've been married for 32 years now. But when I met her there, you know, I had started a business, transportation business, doing okay. And I felt better about life. But here go my producer in my ears, man, we had this deal on the table. You need to bring your rag the tail on back here, man, so we can make this money and we can da. I got a tour set up and you're fooling around, Tony. Come on, man. And I'm like, man, and I had this, Brother Greg, it's like I had an empty space in my heart, right? You got this empty space in your spirit. But the only way that space can be filled is with Jesus, man. You just gotta have God. You gotta have Jesus in order to feel whole. Is what I've learned and what I felt. And so I remember I was in my apartment and I said, I wanted to change because I was feeling that tug to pull me back to where I came from. And that's almost like being pulled back to a pig pen. You don't want to go back to what you've been delivered from, And excuse me. So I remember I was standing there in my apartment, and I said, God, I have this desire to go back to sing the songs that I used to sing. I want to go back and do R&B, and because I love doing that, and I was good at it, and I was talented at it, and I just want to do what I used to do. And but I want this thing to get away from me. I needed to cut loose. And the voice of God said one word to me. He said, take one step forward. I'm telling you, man, it was unbelievable. I took one step forward, and all of a sudden, that desire that I had to go back to be a part of that, to sing again with that R&B stuff and jump around and do crazy stuff, it went away. I mean, it was an instant healing for me. I call it a healing because deliverance. Let me put it that way. I got delivered from that thing, man. And I got so excited. That album that I was writing to, I turned it was my very first album, and I titled it Lord, I Thank You. But in the beginning of when I started writing on it, like in 95, I think 95, I told my producer, I said, Rick, man, I've changed these songs around, man. I'm singing for the Lord. I would love for us to give the gospel a shot, Man, you crazy? No, man, we can't do that. Man, I got a multi-million-dollar deal on this table. You talking about some gospel stuff, man? Throw that stuff in the garbage, man. And he was going off, boy. Man, you better come on out here, man, and do what we got to do. Like, no, man, I've changed, man. I don't want to do that anymore, man. I just want to sing for the Lord. It's in my heart, man. I feel more fulfilled if I do that. And he was just adamant. No, I tell you what, come on out here. Move on back, like you said, and we're going to work out some things. I said, you know what? I'm moving back to change my friends. That was my mindset. I'm going to go back and encourage my buddies and bring them out of that darkness, and bring them into a light that was better than what we was doing. So me and my wife, we moved back. Chris agreed with me, Griselda. So we moved back, and I went to the studio, and Rick was all glad to see me, and he was like, man, let's get started, man. Check this groove out, da. You remember when you did this track? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, man, but I got something better, man. I just got something that's more fulfilling, and I believe it can really help folk, And he was like, man, Tony, man, let that stuff go, man. It's nothing there. I said, yes, it is, brother. Listen to me, man. I felt so empty, man. I felt lost. I felt deserted, but I felt something that is really true to my heart, man. Something that I grew up in. My mom brought me up into this, knowing God and knowing that he's a healer and deliverance, knowing Jesus as my savior, man. And I just want to share that good news, Man, get out of here, man. He was just all upset with me. I said, tell you what, come in tomorrow and we'll talk more about that. Let me set these tracks up. I said, oh, he's not getting it. So I came back the next day, and he tried it again, and I told him the same thing. He said, you know what, man? I got to make a run, bro. Let me come back. Can you come back next week, and let's see when we get this going? I said, oh, okay. I could tell he didn't want to deal with me anymore. He was upset. And sure enough, I came back there next week, and I was locked out the studio. He wouldn't even let me in. He wouldn't answer the phone. He didn't want to. I mean, he just totally turned against what I had, all those songs. I had written a whole album, and he didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I turned around. I felt kind of hurt in one way because I know there was a deal on the table. And I know that we could have probably went on tour and did some great things, it's opened up some great doors, but my heart was set on making a change and not being caught in such a bad, evil environment of what we was doing with all the stuff that they do, man. Oh, you know, um, so I went home and prayed and I said, well, God, it's you and me and Griselda, you know, and I'm gonna seek your face, whatever that's supposed to mean. I'm gonna seek whatever your will is, because I know I feel in my heart that I'm on the right track. And so I began to look around for a producer that would help produce my songs. And lo and behold, I met a producer, he had a nice studio up on the 6th floor over on Sunset. No, he was on Hollywood Boulevard in Vine. So I ended up going to him, and his name was Sarah Chris, and I did my first album, Lord, I Thank You. And I was on fire for the Lord, man. I mean, I had that energy. I had this stamina. I was, I'm like, if I did all that I was doing for R&B, I'm going to do it on this side even more. And to change lives, encourage people, to let people know you don't have to live in such a evil way. All this stuff that you do, the drinking, the smoking, the women, and all the other stuff that they do, and the men, whatever they do, they do all kinds of just crazy stuff. And I did that. I got with Sarah. We went forth and did my whole album, Lord, I Thank You. And that album was released in 1997. And I went from there. And from there, I went forward. And again, I was on fire. I began to work on other projects. I put together a group called DDT, which stands for DeFrance, David, and Tony. One of the singers in my group, DeFrance, his dad is the actual, I don't know if you remember Gene Chandler, the Duke of Earl. Duke of Earl, Duke. Do you remember the Duke of Earl?
I don't recall that, Dr. Tony.
Oh, okay. Well, Duke of Earl he did There's a Rainbow. I mean, he got a lot of great old hits. They loved Duke of Earl back in the days, man. Anyway, that's his father. And David B was another singer. He came from For Lovers Only. So anyway, moving from that, I'm going to move into my tragedy that happened to me. Do you want me to go into that now? Or any questions?
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I just want to validate your experience when you turned down singing a certain type of music. So back then, you had a great sense of who you are in Christ. So I just want to share with you that that was a tremendous decision. It reflected who you truly are. And you can't get, I believe, more wealthy than that, Dr. Tony.
Wow, that is so true, man. As the saying, silver and gold I have not much, but as long as I have King Jesus, I got enough. Honestly, I didn't feel fulfilled until, and I'm just being real about this. People have all these different religions of things, but Jesus is real, man. That spiritual emptiness that we have in our hearts and our spirit is only Jesus can feel that on the real. We can try to come up with all these chantings and all these other things and all the stuff that Jesus, and that's a real thing. It's a real spiritual part of us that we are part of the family in Christ. And I know without a doubt that we came from heaven. We was created to be something great, something awesome, something powerful and wonderful, wonderfully made. And God sent us here on this journey, and we into these bodies. And we are walking and talking and doing what we do, and we have the opportunity and chance to do the right things. And many times we get so caught up in this world, man, with the luxuries and the persona, the sin, till we choose to, because the devil is so enticing. As you remember Adam and Eve in the garden, when Eve presented that apple, and all of a sudden Adam eventually bit off that apple, and so I just look at our weakness, and I look more and think more about the word. The word says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, and I find that it's a daily battle. I mean, for some folks, it's a second battle to keep that flesh subdued and to do the right things and just be that kind of light to others in a dark world, because it's so dark out there, man. And people are hurting so bad. And as you can see, it's getting more and more darker. But we have to, again, walk towards the light and be that light in this dark world, is what I truly believe.
Well, if you don't mind, can you believe, or could you believe? Now that just came out. I wasn't even thinking that. When I said, could you believe, what did you pick up in your spirit?
Could you believe?
It just came out, so I want to stay with that.
Okay, well, could you believe could you believe in miracles? Could you believe that there's something more than where you are right now? There's something more than what you're going through. Could you believe that there's blessings just for you, and they have not manifest yet, because many times we're not ready to receive those blessings, but we have to get in a place. God got to take some things off of us, cut some stuff loose. There's some people we have to come from among, some things that we have to let go, let God, as they say. I feel and can sense that in the spirit right now, because a lot of times we want to hold to our past, but see, God want to do a new thing, and He wants to open up better doors and better opportunities for us. But as long as we keep looking in that, I put it like this. I did a sermon one time. We keep adjusting that rearview mirror, looking back to where we came from, and I remember when I did this. Oh, it was that, and oh my goodness. In one corner, but on the other corner, in that mirror, look at the hell you came from. Look at the valley you was in. Some folks wanted to kill themselves. Some people was almost killed, and some people, unfortunately, did get killed along that journey, because 99.5 won't do, as they say. We straggle that fence, and we keep. I've seen so many people, man, especially those that proclaim to be Christ-like, where they straddle that fence, man, and they'll go partying on Saturday and play God on Sunday, and Monday they right back to that same old sin, instead of just trying to really make a full change and do things the right way, and understand that you will be blessed in the city, in the fields, and so forth. If we just stay in that position of being humble, man, and do what we're supposed to do, that's of righteousness and not of darkness, because we feel that our flesh is telling us, look, my flesh, that ain't what I'm feeling. I feel like doing this way. I want to do it that way. But what about doing it God's way? And I believe life would be better.
Well, we're going to take a little commercial break here. You're listening to 94.7 FM WAAW out of Augusta, Georgia. We're going to have, or we do have, Dr. Tony Davis with us. And now if you could spend like 7 or 8 minutes, and I know it could go longer, but I have a couple of things to ask you before the end of this broadcast. So how did you get involved in the movie I Forgive?
Oh my goodness, man. Let me make a long story short on that one too. In 2003, I was on my way to pick up my wife from work. I was singing with a group, I had put together called DDT. I was talking about them earlier. The friends, David and Tony. And we was working on my third album project. And we titled it Heaven is Real. And about 2 weeks before I got shot, I remember we was praying, because every Wednesday we would get in my Jeep and pray. You know, that was one of our routines as a group, and encourage each other and talk about life. So July, no, it was the last day of June 2003. I was on my way to pick up my wife Griselda from work over in East LA area, and I was attacked by gang members. They shot me 5 times, 10 holes. I died for 30 minutes. During my time of death, I had an out-of-body experience. I went to heaven. I saw heaven. Saw these beautiful, beautiful colors I've never seen before. I felt love. I felt joy. I've never felt that good before. I tried to push my way inside. I saw sparkles of light that was floating inside. And the Holy Spirit told me those are archangels. They never stop praising God. And it was so peaceful. I mean, Brother Greg, I felt like it's a place that when Jesus said, I'm going to prepare, I felt like everybody's supposed to be there. I don't care what color you are, blue, green, purple, just pick your color. It's a place that's prepared for us. And everyone's supposed to be there. But unfortunately, all of us don't get there because of the choices that we choose to do. So in that, let me go forward. So in that, God spoke to me and said, it's not yet your time. Go back. I'm like, no, I'm not going back to that crazy place. No. And I was fighting to stay. And he said my name, Tony, I need you to go back. I'm like, no. The third time he said my name again, Tony, your work is not yet done. I need you to deliver a message of forgiveness and triumph over tragedy. And I heard a blow, like a powerful but light wind blowing. And I began to go backwards. My hand was going through clouds, and I breathed. When I breathed, I was on life support. And a doctor was standing over me about to put the sheet over my head. And I was told that I had died for 30 minutes. And they thought that was it. Moving forward a little bit, let me just cut it more shorter. So,
Hey, brother Tony, please forgive me.
yes.
In that moment, I seen you choke up for a moment. Let's stay with that. Let's stay with that. What emotion was you just feeling?
Honestly, when I opened up my eyes and when I opened up my eyes and I saw that I was back here in this world, I was more hurt. My heart was more hurt. My spirit was more hurt than my body. Because you don't understand that when you go there, I've seen people walk through those clouds and they go to heaven. And I see the joy. I see the peace. I see the love. I mean, unbelievable love. I mean, when you go there, all of the cares of this world go away. I wasn't worried about my wife anymore, my mom, my family. It's like a knowing that everything is going to be all right. God is taking care of everything. You don't have to worry anymore. Just rest in his peace, rest in his love, his joy. And I miss that. That's why I didn't want to leave that. But when you come here and you dwell in this place, in this earth, and you see the cruelty of people, you see the hate, you see the racism, you see the disparities, the homelessness, it's heartbreaking. I can feel God's heart sometimes just mourning about his creation, because he didn't create us to be, he did not create us to be this way. towards each other. He did not create us to allow the enemy to get into our minds, our hearts, to uh, sorry, brother, great. I gotta get myself
Hey,
together.
Brother Tony, could I share something? If
Yes.
I wasn't listening with my spirit, I would have missed you when I felt your emotions. Most hosts, they wouldn't have caught it. But look what came out. Something so valuable that you shared. So I just want to thank you for allowing those deep, heartfelt emotions to surface, because that's what's missing. You know, we talk about God, but sometimes our hearts are missing in the communication, the way that we interact with one another. So when I experienced a great moment that you didn't say any words, that's when your spirit was the loudest.
Wow. Yes, it's just that the peace that awaits us, man, the love, the joy. I used to hear the old people say, always howdy, howdy, never goodbye. So those that we love so dearly, those that are beautiful, some folks are like, I cannot believe they gone. You know, their heart was so beautiful, but it's their time. And when it's your time, when it's done, we go home. Some of us go home to heaven. There are some that choose that other path, and they go to a place called hell. And that's the real true reality of things, you know? And it's just hard. It's just hard sometimes when I see how people treat each other, the heartbreaks of life, and the way I know we're supposed to be. We are actually kings and queens, and yet we act like we're peasants, and we treat each other so harshly, and that's just sad to me. Because I feel the heart of God, and I feel the moaning of. I'm telling you, since I had that experience, man, there's some things that I see. I've seen 17 feet tall angels, and I don't share with folks, 'cause they'll say I'm crazy. You know, I've seen the enemy. When I was dying in my blood, there was legions of evil spirits walking around me, laughing, telling me, "Look at you," saying to me, look at you. You've been serving that God. Look what that God let me do to you." And I thought about Job when I was laying there dying in my blood on those streets. Though he slayed me, yet still would I trust him. You know, in other words, God is bigger than this. He's beyond this. And if he's allowed this, there's a purpose. And I trust him beyond my pain. And that's where I am at this point.
Now your story, which is a gift, has me going inward.
Mhm.
Cody, do you think in the body of Christ that maybe we missed a mark? And I'm talking about the church overall, what we consider the church.
Totally.
There you go.
Totally.
Share
And
with us.
I just got to be honest. Church has came to be a mockery to me. I'm just being real. I've been to a lot of church. I've sung in a lot of churches. I've been on the best of television, TBNs, and the 700 anybody. I've done a whole lot of things, and even on some of those places behind the scenes, I see mockery of things. I see things that is not of God, and it turns into the love of money. You know, that's why the Bible says the love. It doesn't say money is evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evils, and I see why. Because like the OJ said, for the love of money, people will sell their own mothers. You know, the love of money is such an evil that it will cause the humankind to do the most atrocious things to one to the other, thinking that it's the best thing to for them to get ahead and do better in life, just to take advantage of others, just to take what others have. So the church had gotten into a place where it's about it's way we understand the business part of life. You got to pay bills, you got to pay things in the building, all those things. But when you want to raise millions and millions of dollars, and you have people in your church that barely have a place to sleep, or can't pay their rent, or can't even buy food, they come in there for prayer, believing that somehow this God that they're serving will do something for them to make their lives better. And they're given a false hope because it's not real with a lot of them. I'm just being real about it, man. One thing about me, you're going to hear the real or you don't hear nothing at all, because I'm not going to fake it from what my experience has been.
Hey, Brother Tony, I'm going to take a moment to add on to what you shared with us. About a week ago, I was listening to this broadcast, and the pastor of the church was talking about his friend who had a mega church. The electric bill alone was $100,000 per month.
Whoa. Was he telling the truth?
Well, if he wasn't telling the truth, what person would say that? I mean, I would be embarrassed to say that. But,
yes.
But that's the carnal mind.
Exactly.
But he did say that.
Exactly. And it's amazing how, here we go. I'm not even saying the names, like a lot of pastors, they want to get into this level of having jets, and they want the fastest, and they raise millions of dollars to purchase these jets. And I'm not saying anything wrong with it. If that's what God has blessed you with, and you have the resources to live that way and do those things, more power to you. I enjoy life. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't. The only thing I see wrong is when you take advantage of the poor to get that wealth or get there. When you take from the needy and you just want to live your lifestyle and not care. You pull it up in Rolls Royce and Lamborghinis and again, if you have a business on the side, or you have a life that your books are doing well, and so hey, do your enjoy it. Look, that's what those things are for. I don't blame you. But when you indulge on taking advantage of the poor, I've seen people, man, I'm not even saying it, Pastor. If I said his name, you would know him. I remember years ago, he was part of a church over in LA. And we had a church at the time that he was renting a building in Hollywood, right? And so he wanted to raise what was it? $200,000, right? And he had people running down the aisle with he was getting everybody to give up $500 for the next 3 weeks. Every week come up with $500 and just bring it, and you run down the aisle in slow motion on them cameras. Oh my gosh, it's just silly, man. And I seen people that I know they didn't have it. And I know this one lady, I knew she was literally on the streets. And she was just so happy to give her welfare check, one lady her Social Security check, knowing that she got to go home and face paying her rent. And then I've heard some that say, I'm going to go another pastor, he would tell you, look, don't give your rent money, because if you give your rent money, don't come back and think you're going to get it back, because I got to pay the bills up in here. I've heard that from just another mega church pastor. I'm not going to say that name, but I'm just saying I've seen. But when the people come to them and ask for, look, can you help me? Some of them will give you a penny or two, but it's barely enough to get by when they can do better than that. They can do more. So I just see that I'm not down. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not down in the church. I'm just exposing the truth of the church. Just as I expose the truth on some of those platforms that I've been on behind the scenes. I've seen them count numbers and not the souls of people. I've seen them in those platforms. I'm not going to say the name on major network, on TBN. I've done a lot of behind those platforms with a lot of those major mega pastors. And I'm looking at them like, wait a minute, I thought we was in this talking about the Lord. I'm here to share my testimony and saying, and we talking about numbers. And it wasn't about the souls. And that thing bothered me. And I'm like, why? What's wrong with y'all? And I'm like, I used to watch some of you guys and I thought you was real. And now I'm hearing the truth. You're being exposed for who you are, being crooked. And so I've seen a lot of that. And that's why people got to be careful, man, and prayerful how because they will tell you to sow your seeds and they will make, if you sow 20, I hate when someone connect my blessing to my seed, even though that's a blessing. But I hate when someone say, if you give $3,000, God is going to bless you 3,000 ways. I'm just saying they come up with all these cliches to try to manipulate people to give. And instead of letting people give from their hearts or what they're able to, they take pure advantage of that. And they are building up their wealth in the church. And that's why, remember when Jesus came through and turning over tables and all those things, and because they were selling stuff and doing stuff totally out of order of the church, man. And the church has lost its place. It's gotten so wicked now. Let's be real about it. Can I be real about it? They are literally worshiping an idol as if this man is God. They have turned from the true living God and they worshiping a deist, a demon still person that doesn't even believe in God, that doesn't even believe in heaven. It's out of their mouths. I heard him say, well, heaven is not for me. My heaven is here on earth. How can you confess to be Christ-like and you don't even, you're going to hell because you said that you're not going? And for someone to ignore that and still believe in that and find your reasons of, well, I'm against this and that, I don't believe in that. It's not about what you believe. It's about what we believe in God. And what does God say? What does God say about helping the needy? What does God say about coming outside of those walls and helping those in need? And stop building up your wealth into yourselves and acting like you're holier than thou because you touch somebody's head and they fall to the ground. Get out of here with that mess. It just a lot of silliness, a lot of fakeness that I'm seeing that's not of God. And until we get to that place, we're going to continue to suffer.
Yes. And Brother Tony, not to pick apart, but I believe sometimes the truth has to be spoken so people have the opportunity to heal. Imagine a pastor who wants to grow pot. He wants to purchase land to grow pot.
My God.
To fund some of the projects for the church. Now, but I don't only put the responsibility on the pastor. What's happening to the fellowship, the shepherds? I mean,
right.
To believe that.
Yes. To me, it's like that's when man go into sin is what I believe. We go outside. They try to be so creative outside of God until they indulge with the enemy, because the enemy will whisper sweet things to you and say, look, this is how you can make a whole lot of money. This is how you can make things work. This is how and we'll run with that. That flesh should rise up, man. That's why the Bible says we got to kill flesh daily. It's a daily battle with our flesh, man. Even Apostle Paul, when he wants to do right, he always end up doing things wrong. He said, those things that I want to do right, why do I always end up doing wrong? Because they always end up because we get caught up or we dwell in our flesh and not in the spirit. It's important to walk in the spirit, man, because that's where you'll find the love, a sound mind. You'll find a connection with God. And I'm telling you, God will speak to you. He would walk with you. Man, I've gotten in a place where before I go into a room, God already tells me what's going to happen. He points out who is what and what they're going to do and what they're going to say. Sometimes, not all the time, when he want to reveal things to me, because you pray before you go into these situations and you ask God to lead you and guide you and take over and allow God and not yourself. And God will do it, man. Brother Greg, I've said this before. I was talking to a friend of mine. We have the ability to heal ourselves. We really do. We have the ability to speak life and speak life more abundantly. We have it. And the reason I know that we have it, because I was able to do it when I was laying up in that hospital and they told me I wasn't going to be able to talk anymore because the doctor mistakenly cut a piece of my vocal cord and they were going to put a box on the side of my throat. And my left leg's supposed to be amputated. They were going to cut off my leg. But when I forgave, 12 o'clock midnight, there was a turnaround in that room in that hospital. When I forgave, my leg came back to life and my voice miraculously came back. You can hear me talking. I don't have a rasp. I can still sing and do my notes, and and it's better than what it was before because I forgave. I had to forgive those guys that shot me to join a gang. And the retribution was, God said, I'll fight your battles. I'll take care of your enemies. Those guys that shot me, and it's not a thing that I'm happy about because I went back over there to try to save their lives.
Yes.
They end up being killed by another gang.
Yep.
So it's like a cycle of horrific demonic things because of the enemy being in our minds and our hearts to do what's wrong. So much sadness out there, so much wrong.
Wow.
Yes.
We have about 7 minutes left. Where can people see the movie? And also, where could they purchase your book?
Oh, wow. I'm so happy with, I signed a distribution 2 years ago. It's called Bridgestone, BMG Global, Twin Engines. They have done a wonderful job. A lady told me a couple of months ago, I saw your movie while I'm on an airplane. I'm like, oh, wow. So anyway, it's available on a lot of platforms right now. It's on Amazon Prime, it's on Hulu, it's on Tubi, it's on Plato Video, it's on, you name it. It hasn't hit Netflix yet, but it's on those other stations, so they can see some for free. At YouTube, we have a little bit over 500,000 at this point on YouTube alone. It's called Encourage TV. You can see it there for free. If those don't have a prescription, and others, if you have those Amazon Prime, Hulu, Tubi, just go and watch. My book is available on the Kindle. You can download it, or you can purchase it on Amazon Books, Kindle, or you can go to my website and I can send you a signed copy as well. I do speaking engagements and I take my books and present them to the people and they all are available. I was so happy about 2 years ago, I was invited to Peoria, Illinois, to speak at the schools and all those things. The Mayor Ali brought me out there in the police department, and the police department had bought 100 of my books called I Forgive. And they passed them out to the students and the people that wanted to get the book. So it was just a blessing to see that, so that was my first book was Heaven is Real in 2006. And my second book last year was Forgiveness, Triumph Over Tragedy. See, it's amazing how my life is lining up with what God has sent me back here for. I never thought of that, to see my life like this. And then my recent book this year is called Beyond the Final Breath, which I'm talking about heaven and my experience and things like that. But the movie is entitled I Forgive. I was blessed to work with Academy Award winner Lou Gossip. Lou was such a genuine, I call him elder of the village, man. Lou was such a gentleman, man. Great guy, great personality. He's the real deal. I saw the gift he had, on set, and just the respect he had for everyone, especially ladies, and just a great man. I mean, it just blessed me to see a Hollywood figure like that, to be a good, decent person, because most of them, man, I meet, oh, you got a lot of trash coming behind that. But Lou was one of the real ones, man. So it was wonderful. He's gone home to be with the Lord now. He transitioned this year. But he told me one thing I never forget. He said, Tony, always do what's right, man, even when it doesn't seem like it'll do you any good. You know, and I'll keep those words in my heart, man, in my mind forever.
Could you share your website?
Yes, they can go to www.drtonydavis.cc. That's the easy one. That's drtonydavis.cc or National Increase Peace Foundation.com, and they'll see all the information there.
Oh, wow. I had your music that I was going to play, but I'm looking down. And when I backed out, I must have lost it again. Oh, did people hear your song, I Forgive? Oh, no.
My Everything.
Yes.
My Everything. It's a beautiful song. Yeah, I wrote that song, man, when I had that tube in my throat in that hospital, and the doctors told me I wasn't going to talk anymore. And I just had a piece of paper and started writing that song, man, in the middle of my heart. I mean, in the middle of my pain. You know, you still are my everything. You know, I scribbled those words, man, and sure enough, my voice came back. That was a miracle.
Well, Dr. Tony Davis, I would absolutely love for you to come back if God puts it on your heart to do so. But I would like to really discuss in part 2 about having the experience and also where God is taking you from this point on. New chapter in your life.
Yeah, that'd be totally wonderful because I got some awesome thing. I mean, awesome, man. I'm writing to 8 movie scripts right now. I have 4 ready. New music. You know, I'm working with other pastors as well. A dear friend of mine that invested in my film, Bishop Beach. I'm working on his music project right now with him. He has a song called I know this is not the box, but bless his heart. It's called Jesus, You're My Super Bowl. But I helped structure that for him, you know, with "You're the victory in my soul" is what I added. So I added, just want to let, you know, to bring it to be something more of what he was trying to do. So anyway, that song is going to be it's a really good song, man, called Jesus. It's out now on Spotify and Apple Music, all that stuff, you know. Also my songs, My Everything, and although a lot of my songs is on all those social media platforms as well.
My Everything. Do you
Yeah,
have
My
a
Everything.
do you have a copy of your book near you?
Let me see. Well, let me see. One of them, well, the one that's called Forgiveness, Triumph Over Tragedy. No, that's okay, Ben. I got it. Because you got to go through a lot. But yeah, this is like when I first got my first print. You know, it's a hard copy.
Okay.
But this is it's a hardback. But this is Forgiveness, Triumph Over Tragedy. And yeah, I have this one next to me. You know, it's just what they call it, not for sale. It's one of those, you know, when I had to go through the sample of it, you know. But I really love my current book is Beyond the Final Breath. That's for those who want to read more into spiritual things of heaven. And I just try to share as much as I could because, man, it's undescribable. Some of the things that you see there, the beauty, you know, the colors, that it's unearthly colors I've never seen on earth before. Beautiful radiant colors. And then I saw these sparkles of lights with these angel wings going in and out these lights. And that's when the Holy Spirit said that those are archangels. They never stop praising God. So these beings, they constantly float through the city of heaven. And I saw a yellow glow coming from the ground. I know people say streets of gold. I couldn't see down there, but I did see a strong yellow glow coming from the bottom. But I could not see everything because these clouds kept getting in my way, man. I'm like, get out the way. And because I was trying to see, I saw images of people. I heard people talking. And yeah, Brother Greg, you know, I heard some people talking. I'm like, I know that person, but I don't know that person. It almost like it was somebody that I knew before I was born, like an ancestor or something. It's like, and see, when God speaks to us, God doesn't speak to our flesh. He speaks to our spirit, man. People think, oh, he's speaking to me and my, God don't speak to flesh. He speaks to the spirit because he knows that that's what he created. And that's what, he can speak to and share the realness of him with your spirit. And so, yeah, that just amazed me when I think about that, Wow.
I I'm saddened. I don't want to cut this broadcast off
I know.
close to the hour here.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're available next week or whatever, we could talk about the angel experience, the heaven experience, I should say, and also what's needed to produce your next movie. I have a strong feeling that there could be someone out there praying who may have the means to help support you, Brother Tony.
Well, that'd be totally great, man, because I do have that work that I got to release to the earth, man. It's just amazing, the stories that God has given me, one of them is Lily C. I told you about that, my mom's story. And I believe that movie is going to bring a healing in Mississippi, in the South, those southern states, because it's about reconciliation of love and respect through hardship and disrespect that my mom encountered, and with segregation and with racism, but she overlooked so many things like that, and it's just a powerful story. But anyway, we'll talk on and on, Brother Greg. You and I get on the phone, we never get off, man. So let me shut it down. But yeah. I would love to next week. Definitely, let's make a part 2, and we'll go there.
Okay, and if you could hold on just for one moment after the broadcast, I won't keep you more than 1 minute.
Totally fine. You got me. You're my brother, so I'm here. You're my brother from another mother, as they say. So I'm right here with you, man.
Well, it was an honor to have you on with us tonight, Brother Tony.
I was blessed by you, my dear brother.